Tuesdays with Morrie, graduation and conclusion. Morrie died on a Saturday morning. His immediate family was with him in the house. Rob made it from Tokyo. He got to kiss his father goodbye, and John was there, and of course Charlotte was there, and Charlotte's cousin Marcia, who had written the poem that so moved Morrie as his unofficial memorial service, the poem that likened him to a tender sequoia. They slept in shifts around his bed. Morrie had fallen into a coma 2 days after our final visit, and the doctor said he could go at any moment. Instead, he hung on, though, a tough afternoon through a dark night. Finally, on the 4th of November, when those he loved had left the room just for a moment to grab coffee in the kitchen, the first time none of them were with him since the coma began, Morrie stopped breathing, and he was gone. I believe he died this way on purpose. I believe he wanted no chilling moments, no one to witness his last breath and be haunted by it, the way he had been haunted by his mother's death notice telegram or by his father's corpse in the city morgue. I believe he knew that he was in his own bed, that his books and his notes and his small hibiscus plants were nearby. He wanted to go serenely, and that is how he went. The funeral was held on a damp, windy morning. The grass was wet and the sky was the color of milk. We stood by the hole in the earth, close enough to hear the pond water lapping against the edge and to see ducks shaking off their feathers. Although hundreds of people had wanted to attend, Charlotte kept their gathering small, just a few close friends and relatives. Rabbi Axelrod read a few poems. Morrie's brother, David, who still walked with a limp from his childhood polio, lifted the shovel and tossed dirt in the grave, as per tradition. At one point, when Morrie's ashes were placed into the ground, I glanced around the cemetery. Morrie was right. It was indeed a lovely spot. Trees and grass and a sloping hill. You talk, I'll listen, he said. I tried doing that in my head, and to my happiness found that the magic conversation felt almost natural. I looked down at my hands, saw my watch, and realized why. It was Tuesday. That's basically the end of the book, Tuesday's morning. This quote at the end. My father moved through days of we, singing each new leaf out of each tree, and every child was sure that spring danced when she heard my father sing. Conclusion. I look back sometimes at the person I was before I rediscovered my old professor. I want to talk to the person. I want to tell him what to look out for, what mistakes to avoid. I want him to tell him to be more open, to ignore the lure of advertised values, to pay attention when your loved ones are speaking as if they were the last time you might hear them. Mostly I want to tell the person to get on the airplane and visit a gentle old man in West Newton, Massachusetts sooner rather than later, before that old man gets sick and loses his ability to dance. I know I cannot do this. None of us can undo what we've done or relive a life already recorded. But if Professor Morris Schwartz taught me anything at all, it was this. There is no such thing as too late in life. He was changing until the day he said goodbye. Not long after Morrie's death, I reached my brother in Spain. We had a long talk. I told him I respected his distance and that all I wanted was to be in touch. In the present, not just in the past. To hold him in my life as much as he could let me. You're my only brother, I said. I don't want to lose you. I love you. I had never said such a thing to him before. A few days later, I received a message on my fax machine. It was typed in the sprawling, poorly punctuated, all-caps letter fashion that characterized my brother's words. Hi, I've joined the 90s, it began. He wrote a few little stories, what I've been doing this week, a couple of jokes, and at the end he signed off this way. I have heartburn and diarrhea at the moment. Life's a bitch. Chat later. Signed, Sore Tush. I laughed until there were tears in my eyes. This book was largely Morrie's idea. He called it our final thesis. Like the best of work projects. It brought us closer together, and Morrie was delighted when several publishers expressed interest, even though he died before meeting any of them. The advance money helped pay Morrie's enormous medical bills, and we were both grateful. The title, by the way, we came up with in one day in Morrie's office. He liked naming things. He had several ideas, but when I said, how about Tuesdays with Morrie? He smiled in almost a blushing way, and I knew that was it. After Morrie died, I went through boxes of old college material, and I discovered the final paper I had written for one of his classes. It was 20 years old now. On the front page were my penciled comments scribbled to Morrie, and beneath them were his comments scribbled back. Mine began, Dear Coach. His began, Dear Player. For some reason, each time I read that, I miss him more. Have you ever really had a teacher, one who saw you as a raw but precious thing? A jewel that with wisdom could be polished to a proud shine. If you are lucky enough to find your way to such teachers, you will always find your way back. Sometimes it is only in your head. Sometimes it's right alongside their beds. The last class of my old professor's life took place once a week in his home, by a window in his study, where he could watch a small hibiscus plant shed its pink flowers. The class met on Tuesdays. No books were required. The subject was the meaning of life. It was taught from experience. The teaching goes on. Morrie liked to look at a hibiscus plant. There's lots of hibiscus plants here in Hawaii. This is a picture of Morrie. And he is exactly how I pictured him in my head when I first read this book. This book is called Tuesdays with Morrie. It's by Mitch Albom, who is the main character in the book. And it's a really short, great read. It's written by a journalist, like I am as well, and or I'm a graduate of journalism school, and so it's written in a very quick, concise fashion that I would recommend for anybody. Once again, Tuesdays with Morrie. If you liked my reading, which I'm pretty sure you did, click the thumbs up and go ahead and subscribe and comment. Feel free to check out my own book, Gonzo Education, and you can also find it under Homeless College Student. It's a really good read, and feel free to check out my other channels as well. Hit the subscribe button, can't do you any harm, and you'll only bring yourself good luck. Thank you for watching, and I enjoyed this book. It was about a good teacher, Morrie Schwartz. And the previous book I read a couple months ago was about another teacher. It was Helen Keller's autobiography. Helen Keller's teacher as well. So, thank you for your time, and keep reading.